Alright, my people. So welcome to my first class. This is class number 1. As I said, the topic that we'll be looking at is percentage. Please subscribe today. So this is important. In order to fully understand percentage, you need to become aware of 3 rules. What you need to, in order to do what? Fully understand percentage. Percentage mean out of 100. You understand? So you need to be fully aware of 3 rules. Now, look at these 3 types of questions. These 3 questions would be advanced for you if you are struggling or if you don't know nothing about percentage. So they said, what is 65% of 300? If 35% of a number is 120, what is that number? So you understand these is getting harder now. Look at this now. If 60% of a number is 500, what is 20% of the same number? They don't tell us the number, but they're saying if 60%. So for you to fully understand, you have to bear in mind the motto: think, process, not answer. When I think about the answer for now, you get me? Before we get to them here, we have to understand the 3 rules that I've spoken about up here. Now, what are the 3 rules? The 3 rules of percentage are: rule number 1, the 10% rule. Rule number 2, the 5% rule. And rule number 3, the 1% rule. So these are the focus. This one, this one, this one. This is the focus. This is class number 1. And this should be the focus for class number 1 is going to be the 10% rule. Class number 2 is going to be the 5% rule. And class number 3 is going to be the 1% rule. Once I feel comfortable enough to move on to this, understand, I believe you have gotten it, then we can start to tackle questions, but we need to understand these first. Good. Moving on. Now, the 3 rule, once again, percentage mean out of 100. The 3 rule, once again: rule number 1, the 10% rule. Rule number 2, the 5% rule. And rule number 3, the 1% rule. Now, let's get into business. Now, what is 10% of a number? Of mean multiply. Of 10% of a number. So look at this. 10% of multiplied by 200 is the same as 10%. You write it over 100. You write it as a fraction, which would be 10 over 100. So 10, remember this is out of 100. So it's 10 out of 100. Understand? Times 200. So when you multiply 10 times 200, you get 2000. And 100 times 1, you get 100. Now, if you cancel both, you learn about canceling, you now get 200 over 10. And from this, let I highlight it. From this answer right here, from this answer 200 over 10, the 10% rule was born. The 10% rule came into existence. Now, see it here, 200 over 10. Notice 10% is times 200. So 10% of 200 is basically 200 divided by 10. So that's a rule. That's a rule here. Rule came into existence right there. Good. So 10% of 300 is basically 300 divided by 10. Do you see the pattern? 10% of 400 is 400 divided by 10. Do you see the pattern? 10% of 255 is 255 divided by 10. 10% of 3,650 is 3,650 divided by 10. Not that they're going to give you this big number, but the point is that whatever they ask you for 10% of a number is always the number divided by 10. Now the question is, what does divide by 10 means? What it means? It means, this is key, move the decimal point to the left 1 times. When you divide a number by 10, what it means? Move the decimal point. Sorry. It means move the decimal point to the left 1 times. Now, look at this. 10% of 500 is the same as 500 divided by 10. Now, the question is, you're going to ask, sir, but where's the decimal point for this? I don't see any decimal point, so I'm going to move decimal point to the left. So what I've done, I've written some numbers. Good. I've written some numbers. All right, look at this number. No, all right. No, what me I need for the no, because them here me did do them here already. So, all right, look at this. This is very important. All right, number one, 3.42. Number two, 5, 6, 1, 5, 7. Number three, 36. Number four. All right, look at it, number one. Where is the decimal point? When you look at number one, you can say the decimal point is between the 3 and the 4. For number two, you notice the decimal point is between the 3 and the 1. But for here, you say, sir, but I don't see the decimal point. Once you don't see the decimal point is at the end, right here. You understand? So for this, notice you don't see the decimal point. Once you don't see it, it is at the end. That's rule. So once you don't see the decimal point is at the end of the number. You understand? So that's what this is basically saying. Good. All right, let's move to this. All right then. All right, so let's do some questions now. 10% of 300. Good. So that means this is 300. 10%, you move the decimal point to the left. Remember, 1. So what do you end up with? What is behind the decimal point? 30. So the answer is what? 30. As simple as that. 10% of 400 is the same as a 400 divided by 10. Good. All right, and what does that mean? That is the same as 400, and you move a decimal point. It's right here once you do to the left one time. So the answer, what is behind the decimal point? 40. Good. Look at this now. So do this now. Do this. You pause the video and do this on your own. Pause the video and do this. Find 10% of 200. All right, let's check. So that is 200 divided by 10, which is the same as you move the decimal point to the left one time, to the left one time. So what is the behind the decimal point? 20. So the answer is 20. Good. So I'm going to do this and then I do these two, okay? You're going to do number 4 and I do 5 and 6. So that's 10% of 250 is 255 divided by 10. And what does that mean? Move the decimal point to the left one time. See, decimal point is here. Once I don't see it, so I carry it one time. So it now falls between the 2 5. So the answer is 25.5. That's a new number. Pause the video and do these. Pause the video and do them. Alright then. So this is it. 365 divided by 10. And then that means you move the decimal point to the left one time. Once you don't see it, one time. So you end up right here. So the answer is, new number is 36.5. Alright, I know you're waiting. Good. So as you can see, 10% of a number, move the decimal point to the left one time, it end up here. So we don't need to do all of this anymore. We get the principle. Move it to the left one time, so it's going to be 15.6, if that's the answer you get. Now this is your homework. You understand? That's your homework. Alright, so that's it for video 1. Video 2, I'm going to do the 5% rule. So this is video 2. So that's it for video 1. 5% rule for video 2, okay?